I've been thinking a lot lately about different textured finishes on knives. Now, there's always different colored finishes you can do. You can acid etch, you can blue, different forced patinas with different chemicals. But I've really wanted to think about different ways to add texture to knives. This knife we'll be working on is 440C stainless, and you can see it has a mill scale finish there. For the 440C stainless that I buy, that's fairly typical. This sample here, I actually did the needle scale finish, the dimpled finish, and I've got a video about how I did that. I'll put that in the description below. Now, there's a couple different reasons why you might want to texture knives, and the first one from a maker standpoint and a practicality standpoint. Sometimes these texturing finishes just take less time than getting a really nice, even, consistent sanding job on a knife. From a user standpoint, sometimes these textured finishes can do a great job at hiding wear, scratches, and just the everyday, stuff that comes from using the knife. We're going to be using nail polish today and electrochemically etching a random splatter pattern into this knife. Now, I'm not going to etch the bevels on this knife, so I'm just going to protect them with a single layer of painter's tape. Also, I haven't done my final grinds on this, so once I'm done this texturing, I am going to just clean up the grind. I didn't know what exactly was going to happen, and if I had a couple spots where this texturing accidentally went onto the bevel, I wanted to be able to clean that up afterwards. Now, the tape did protect it very, very well, and I didn't actually need to go do my finish grinding. I just did a little bit more just to bring the edge down to thickness before sharpening. And this knife has been heat treated. The next thing we're going to do is clean the knife really well with lacquer thinner. You just want to get all the oil, residue, all that stuff off the blade. First, to help the nail polish stick to it, and second, to make sure we get a nice clean etch. Once the lacquer thinner's dried, we're basically just going to start flicking nail polish onto the blade. I think the next time I try this, I'd probably thin out the nail polish. It was thick and it didn't really want to give those nice stringy runs that I wanted. It was kind of globbing up, but with a little bit of practice, I got it figured out. I let that side dry for an hour before doing the exact same thing to the second side. Also, make sure you get the top and the bottom of the knife as well. Essentially, we want it to all be very evenly / randomly splattered. I went ahead and let the nail polish dry overnight to make sure it was good and hard, and this is the end result. Notice I completely covered the thumb jimping with nail polish. I didn't want that part to get marked. I wanted to keep that as functional as possible. The machine that I'm using is a Personalizer Plus, but there's a lot of different ways that you can etch metal. You can even do it with a car battery. Essentially, you hook up the positive to the metal that you're working on, and the brush side is your negative. There's a piece of fabric, and I use an electrolyte solution to conduct the electricity, and essentially any bare metal that's exposed is going to be eaten away in this process. Obviously, the parts that are covered by nail polish will be protected, and that's where we're going to get our texture effect from. When you think about this process, the electro-etching process, you could also do this with acid etching. I think it would take a lot longer, but think about the possibilities. I mean, this is essentially the same way people put stencils on, but we're just using something completely different rather than a standardized stencil. I can think of a whole bunch of really cool designs that would be fun to either print out on a vinyl sheet or something like that and put onto a blade. This is definitely not the last time I'm going to be trying this out. As far as this random splattered pattern, I'm not 100% crazy about it. I know there's some people are going to like it, and a lot of people are not going to like it. I was just trying this out as a proof of concept, and it definitely works really, really well. Now, we are getting a color change in here as well, and I have my machine switched to etch. If I turn it to mark, we can actually make this really, really dark, but I don't want a color change here. I want an actual texture change. And once we think we've got a nice even etch over everything, I'm going to go ahead and take lacquer thinner and we're going to wipe off all the nail polish. Now, some people might like the drastic color change. I personally do not. Again, I want texture, not color. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all that color. To do that, I'm going to be using a 3M bristle brush. This is in my Fordham. These things are fantastic. The thing I love about these bristle brushes is that they'll remove like the coloring from acid etching and stuff like that, but they won't eat too much of the material away. They'll really follow the material, so you can do a lot of cleanup and polishing without putting a completely distinctive pattern in there. Really a tool that I use all the time. And I'm just going to go over every little nook and cranny. I want to make sure everything, all that color has been removed evenly. And with all the coloring taken off, we reveal our pattern. Now, it does look like it is a slightly different color. That has to do with the texture of the part that's been etched and the part that wasn't, and just the way that it bounces light back. So there actually, there is no acid etching or electronic etching on there. It's just the way that the light reflects makes it look slightly different. And again, this random splatter pattern, I kind of do like it, but it's not something that I'm just like, wow, that is one of the most beautiful things I've ever made. But I really love this idea and this concept, and that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. You know, one thing I find with knife making is that there is no limit to what you can do. The only thing that limits it is your own creativity, your own mind. So don't be afraid to try things like this. I had no idea if this was going to work, what it would look like, and in the end, I feel like I'm much better off because I went out and did it. Anyways, I just wanted to share this with you, maybe give you some ideas of something you could try, give you some inspiration, and just show you another option that you might be interested in putting some textures on your knives. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.